Hello everyone, I'm so happy to welcome you back to the channel. Today's episode unfolds a chapter that is both tender and devastating. The love story of manager Lee Deep and CEO James, two people from very different worlds, bound by a loyalty that has carried them through storms of betrayal, hardship, and sacrifice. In the last episode, joy swept through James's family when they learned that Deep was expecting their second child. The doctor even hinted it might be a girl, the long-awaited blessing everyone had been hoping for. James's mother, despite her busy life, left the care of her youngest child to her husband so she could return to the mansion and support her daughter-in-law through the difficult first weeks of pregnancy. She did not just show kindness in daily care, she gifted Deep a set of rare diamond jewelry, a gesture of love and respect for the woman who had given so much of herself to the family. James himself never left Deep's side. He managed her meals, her rest, even persuaded her to return from her uncle's home to the mansion so he could watch over her more closely and build the kind of safe, private space where their happiness could grow. Everything seemed set for peace and joy. But once again, the shadows of the past were gathering. A predator waiting in the dark. John, their old adversary, had never disappeared. Patient and ruthless, he had been watching Deep even while she stayed at her uncle's. The moment he learned of her pregnancy, he saw not a mother's joy but an opening, a weakness. During one of her hospital visits, John's men followed her, gathering every detail: the address, the doctor's office, the exact stage of her pregnancy. When John received the report, he smiled, a cold, merciless smile. His plan was simple and cruel. Strike here, and James will crumble. James, meanwhile, noticed only that Deep seemed anxious and fragile. He brushed it off as natural mood swings of pregnancy, unaware that a trap was already being set. Overprotection and a plea for freedom, James took no chances. He insisted Deep never leave the mansion without him or a trusted guard. Though protective, his devotion began to weigh on her. Weeks of confinement dulled her spirit. One morning, as he reviewed documents, Deep quietly placed her hand over his and whispered, "I know you're worried, but I miss our little house. The garden must be overgrown." "Let me see it again. Just once. And only if you come with me." James studied her face, the longing of a woman who had built love into every corner of that modest home. He sighed, then nodded. "All right, I'll take you." The return to their first home. Nestled behind trees, the old house welcomed them back. Dust lay thick, vines crept along the path, the swing in the corner had faded. Yet to Deep, it was still home. Hand in hand, they began to clean. James pulled weeds, washed the porch. Deep, careful with her pregnancy, watered plants, trimmed vegetable beds, fed the chickens. Her laughter rose into the midday sun, pure, bright, alive again after weeks of heaviness. James, watching, realized that protecting her was not about locking her away but letting her breathe in safety. Neither noticed the eyes watching them coldly from beyond the fence. The lychee craving that changed everything. On the drive back, they passed a roadside market. Deep's eyes lit up at the sight of fresh lychees. James, look, they're in season. I want some. She insisted on going herself. Just a few steps, broad daylight, I'll be quick. Reluctantly, James agreed, warning her to go straight there and back. She stepped out, radiant, carrying a small bag of the red fruit. James smiled, relieved to see her joy. For a brief moment, it seemed the day had healed her. Then came the roar. A motorcycle, engine screaming, charged down the street. James barely had time to cry her name before the impact. The fruit scattered across the pavement, red flesh bursting, staining the concrete like blood. Deep's body lay crumpled, unmoving. The race against fate. James ran, scooping her into his arms, panic clawing his chest. Her dress was soaked in blood, her pulse faint. He sped through traffic, running red lights, horns blaring, whispering through clenched teeth. Please, don't leave me. Don't leave our baby. At the hospital gates, doctors rushed her into emergency. James could only wait outside, trembling, guilt and fear gnawing every second. 2 hours dragged like years. Finally, the doors opened. The doctor's words brought both relief and devastation. We saved your wife. But we couldn't save the baby. The weight of loss. James followed as Deep was wheeled into recovery, pale, fragile, motionless. He held her hand, silent tears falling. He blamed himself for letting her leave the car. When Deep awoke, her hand instinctively reached for her belly. Her face drained of color. Our baby? James, where's our baby? James, choking back tears, whispered, I'm sorry. The baby is gone. Her sobs tore through the quiet ward. She blamed herself, he blamed himself. Both carried guilt that words could never ease. That night, when sedation finally pulled her into sleep, James walked into the courtyard alone. Under a yellow lamppost, he broke. Silent tears of a father mourning a child he never got to hold. A vow whispered into the night, I'm sorry, my child. I couldn't protect you, but I swear, this will not go unanswered. A trail of shadows. The next day, James returned to the accident site. After combing through hours of surveillance footage, he found it, the black motorcycle. The plate number was fake. The rider's face was hidden. He called a trusted contact in the FBI task force. The verdict was chilling. This wasn't an accident. It was a hit. James's jaw tightened. He knew the name. John. John had gone beyond rivalry, beyond cruelty. He had attacked a pregnant woman. A mother's quiet devotion. When Deep was discharged, James brought her back to the old house. Inside, the garden was tidy, the kitchen warm, the table neatly set. James's mother had cleaned everything herself, swept the floors, trimmed the plants, cooked a simple but heartfelt meal. Deep's throat tightened. The pain remained, but this love, quiet, unadorned, was a balm. For the first time since the tragedy, she ate without choking on grief. A vow in the night. That night, as she slept, James sat by her bedside, fists clenched, eyes burning with fury. This was not an accident. This was John's doing. John had crossed the final line. James whispered into the night. You took my child, but you will not destroy my family. You will pay. The battle had only just begun.